Alright, ladies and germs, this is another battle report that I know has been a long time in coming. This features me against my friend who is running Khador, and I am running Mercenaries. The picture you see here, the Leyland Ord, is an objective marker that he made that turned out really well. So, without further ado, let's get on with the battle report itself. Alright, for the bat rep today, I took Ashland Delise, a Galleon, a full unit of high shields with their UA. They are marshalling a gun bunny, a full unit of Forge Guard, the new dwarf unit, whose name immediately escapes my memory, a Augur Bokur, and a Rover. My opponent is running the Conquest, 2 destroyers, the Leyland's Lightjack, 1 unit of Widowmakers, Zerkova. He's running Gorman de Wolf, and also a Marksman, and Grey Lords, and the Grey Lord Terrian Lord. We were running a breakthrough objective game. The flag is only controllable if you dominate it and you only get 1 point, and then the zone is obviously 2 if you dominate, 1 if you just control. My opponent went first and pretty much just ran his army forward. Well, it didn't really run that far. He sort of moved them up a little bit slower. The next picture you see is my advancement. I got my Galleon into the control zone first turn because it was speed 5 and some running. Pretty much everything I had just ran up. Ashland Delise advanced, cast Quicken on the Forge Guard. The dwarf 3-man unit just dropped their smoke bombs. The Augur Bokur advanced. Pretty much that's all that happened that turn. Alright, second turn for Khador. He advanced a little bit further up. He seemed to be going a little bit slower and wasn't really trying to get up the table as quickly as I was. I'm not sure why yet. The Conquest tried to lob a shell into his main gun, tried to lob a shell into something, but he missed entirely, doing no damage to anything. He then put down the covering fire, or creeping barrage. He then put down creeping barrage in front of the units there. He advanced his other jacks. He killed with the Widowmakers and the Widowmaker Marksman. He killed 2 of the high shields, did no damage to anything else, and pretty much that was his turn. Alright, my turn 2 saw a little bit more happen. The Galleon advanced a little bit further forward. He then stuck the destroyer that was just up above the Conquest in this picture with the harpoon, drug it into his melee range, and commits to beat the crap out of it. After he was done doing that, it actually wasn't wrecked, and my intention had been to leave it not wrecked so I wouldn't have to take a charge from the Conquest. I then attempted to shoot Gorman de Wolf with the Rover, and Gorman de Wolf does have stealth, but I was within 5 inches of him, so I figured, okay, boosted ranged attack, should have no problems hitting him. No, I missed beautifully with the Rover, so the Rover is yet to prove his magnificence at this point in the game. Move the Ashland up behind the Galleon to protect her, because I knew the Conquest was getting ready to come in. Moved up the dwarf unit into the zone, and also the Augur Bokur. Advanced the Forge Guard off the hill through the creeping barrage, and I did not lose a single model to creeping barrage. It's only strength 6, their armor's 16, it's dice minus 10. The odds of me losing one was pretty low, but with the amount of dice that my friend was rolling, he should have been able to kill 1 or 2. Anyway, 3 of them charged the Leyland's Jack right there and failed. 2 of them failed to hit it. The one that did hit it did very little damage. The high shields got their double time order and also their guns blazing order. They managed to kill two of the Widowmakers that were up on the hill and then failed to really hit anything else because I didn't have a whole lot of other targets with only a 10-inch range, and then advanced again up here to the flag to make certain that he couldn't come over and try to claim any points with that with his caster. Um, that was pretty much the turn. I didn't feat this turn because I didn't think I would need it, but we will see how that turns out here in a minute. One thing I forgot to add from the last picture you saw, the two Forge Guard that are right here on the edge of the zone underneath the Conquest had charged the Destroyer and destroyed the Destroyer. So it was now a wreck marker. Because I kind of did want to see, Colossal versus Colossal here. And I haven't really seen a battle report with these two going at it, so I figured it'd be worth trying. My friend charged his Conquest into the zone there, and before he did that, he threw Rust Bomb onto my Galleon with Gorman DeWolf. He then charged in with his Conquest and commenced to have the series of the worst dice rolls for damage I have ever seen. My Galleon was at armor 17, the Conquest is power 22. By math only, with 3 bought attacks, he should have wrecked my Galleon from one side of town to the other. However, since he apparently couldn't roll much above a 5 on any of his dice, or a total of his dice wouldn't roll much above a 5, he failed to do so. So the Galleon was left with his left arm wrecked, his left side boxes of movement and cortex still fine, his right arm was down to 1 damage box, and he still had 12 boxes in the right hand side as well. The Destroyer moved up and tried to lob a shell at the rover and managed to he missed the rover, and then because of blast damage did no damage to him or the dwarf beside him. One last thing the Conquest did do is he did take his guns and shoot at the rover, doing 6 damage to him. The next thing that occurred was the Lely's Jack advanced and killed 2 out of the 3 Forge Guard that were standing there watching it, trying to keep it from doing anything cool. A few more of the High Shield died to gunfire from the Widowmakers and the Marksmen, and then the Zerkova advanced up and popped her feet. For illustration purposes, here is a picture of what was left of the armor on the Galleon. Alright, my turn 3 ended a lot better than I thought it was going to. My opponent had feated, but my rover was still out of his feat range, along with 2 of the dwarf unit. Ashland was caught, and so was the Augur and Bokor, and obviously the Galleon. 1 high shield wasn't caught, and then the gun bunny was not caught. One thing he had done previous turn was used Force Blast to push 2 of my Forge Guard 4 inches directly away from the Vanguard. This actually set him in a good spot to where you see the nice wreck marker right now. I didn't get a charge because I couldn't charge because of Zerkova's feat. But what I did do was feat with Ashland and then walk the Forge Guard over to get all 4 of them Weapon Master attacks onto the Conquest. My dice actually started rolling hot, and I did a fair bit of damage, taking out most of one side of his damage grid. The rover then charged in, getting his 2 initials, the gun initial attack, and then also a bought attack with the axe, and managed to finish off most of that side. The Galleon then activated, and with his Trident, which was still working at power 21, hit the Conquest, doing a fair amount of damage at dice +1. I think he did something like 12 to 13 damage that roll. Hit with his crippled hand, getting 3 dice to hit, so he still managed to hit, but on the damage roll it was dice -1. I just went with 1 die and managed to do 4 or 5 damage to him. Bought an attack, hit him again, wrecked him. It took the majority of the army to wreck him. The dwarf unit, one guy was in Zerkova's control area, so he couldn't charge or do anything special. The leader was out, so he was still able to give the charge order and advance and charge into Gorman de Wolf. And Gorman de Wolf splatted very well. The gun bunny ran up to just entangle the Widowmakers, so I wouldn't have to deal with them next round, hopefully. And the high shields pretty much stood there and did nothing. Here's a picture of the damage to the Conquest. My buddy didn't mark the last two columns of damage, but he was wrecked. Alright, this turn saw my buddy decide to repay me in kind for not being